Hey everybody, Jay Wade back here with another No Pause reaction, and that is right, baby. We doing some more Jimmy Dore. Love it, man. I love it. I do not agree with a whole lot that Jimmy thinks. You know, our thinking and politics don't really line up. I love his show. It is entertaining. It is also very informative. And also, I just like to get views from across the board. So I'm a fan of Jimmy Dore, have been since the pandemic. That's when I found him. Found him a little bit before it started, actually, when he was really starting to get into the live shows, as you can see on here. If he's coming to any of these places near you, for fuck's sake, get there. If not, what the hell's wrong with you? Give us a subscribe here, please. We're almost to 3K. I know we can do it by the end of the month, and then 5K, hopefully by the end of the year. Thank you so much if this is your first time here. Let's do it, everybody. This one is, again, from Jimmy Dore Live. Trump was ready to pardon Snowden until threatened. I've not heard anything about this. I lean on, I don't have an issue with pardoning Mr. Snowden and allowing him to return to America as a free American citizen. That's where I fall on that, but here we go.
Glenn Greenwald, he has some observations about why Trump didn't pardon Snowden. Have you heard about this? He made a little bit of news. Let's watch this.
There was real movement inside the Trump administration to give particularly Snowden a pardon. They came much closer to Snowden than they did to Assange. And if you think about it, why would they have initiated an impeachment proceeding against a president who within a couple of weeks was on his way out? And the reason, Crystal, was that they were very afraid that on his way out, Trump was going to do a bunch of stuff, including not just giving pardons to Snowden and Assange, but also declassify all kinds of documents he had been threatening to declassify about the CIA, about the Kennedy assassination. And the only leverage they had against Trump doing what they considered crazy stuff on his way out was the second impeachment trial. And they explicitly communicated to Trump, multiple Republican kind of hawkish senators did, that if you do what we know you're thinking about doing, what Rand Paul and Matt Gaetz and others were encouraging him to do, which was pardon Snowden, that will severely jeopardize your chances of getting out of this impeachment trial with an acquittal.
Does that relate to the documents that he then takes to Mar-a-Lago? Because there's some reporting that the documents that he took there were, related to Russiagate.
What I know for sure is that Trump was threatening to declassify all of those documents relating to Russiagate because Trump believes, I think with a lot of validity, that there were crimes committed or at least ethical transgressions committed during the 2016 election to create and manufacture Russiagate. It came out of the CIA. And I don't know exactly which documents he took. Nobody really knows exactly which documents he took, but it certainly seems to align with everything I knew at the time, which was that Trump wanted those documents
Mar-a-Lago raid was for the JFK
had the power
files.
to declassify them, and now his defense is that he did. I'm not saying that those are the only documents he took. He probably took a bunch, being Trump, just kind of did it all recklessly. But I would think there's certainly a relationship between his belief that documents were being hidden that should be seen and his decision to remove a lot of documents out of the White House to Mar-a-Lago.
Now, what do you make of that, Aaron? Let me bring in Aaron Mate, who was won an award for debunking Russiagate, the I.F. Stone Izzy Award. So what do you make of that?
Well, it underscores to me two things. One, that Trump is a chump, and also that Russiagate was a massive scam. And the reason I say that Trump was a chump is because, look, he was targeted with one of the biggest scandals, if not the biggest scandal in U.S. political history. The intelligence agencies working with his opponents to undermine his presidency with a fairy tale that he was a Russian agent, which was completely concocted, and relying on a whole series of deceitful actions to do that. And he had them on that. Instead, though, when he loses, instead of just accepting defeat and bowing out gracefully, but still, putting out the information about how he was undermined to the public, he instead fixates on his own conspiracy theory that the election was rigged, and he riles up this riot at the Capitol, which of course I think has been overblown. It wasn't a coup attempt. It wasn't insurrection. It still was a riot, and it still put him in a vulnerable position where now people could use that against him. And so if what Glenn's saying is accurate, that he was threatened by Republican senators, that
I'm sorry, if we're calling the Summer of Love peaceful protests, and we're calling January 6th the riot, get the F out of here. No.
If he declassified more information that they would vote to impeach him, that sounds very plausible to me. But Trump put himself in that position. And I do know there was a lot of hostility to Trump declassifying. I've interviewed Kash Patel, who was a senior official under Trump and was as a House investigator working for the House Intelligence Committee back in the early years of the Trump administration. He helped uncover a lot of the abuses and scams that the FBI was running to do Russiagate. And that's why the intelligence community had it out for Kash Patel. And Kash, after going into the Trump's administration, wanted to declassify all this stuff and encouraged Trump to do it. And, there's been reporting in the Washington Post that other officials, including Bill Barr and Gina Haspel, told Trump not to do it. And by putting himself in that compromised position over the whole stop the steal madness, Trump was weak. And on the way out the door, he basically slinked away and didn't do anything.
So instead of, none of the things that anybody hoped he would do, he did. He didn't do anything. But because it was, I figured that was.
Have you seen I saw it.
You can't be that broad, Jimmy. Like everything that people wanted him to do or they said he was doing. I mean, I understand what you mean as far as like this stuff, declassifying stuff that people want to know the truth about and stuff. But I mean, maybe be a little more specific. Sorry, I'm not trying to be an asshole.
This on a long time ago, it feels like, and I wasn't even watching. I was like a clip of when Candace Owens interviewed Trump and asked him, "Why didn't you pardon Snowden?" And Trump, like, I've never seen this ever before. He got like sheepish, like, "Well, I really should have done that." And like, never heard him say anything like that before. And I don't even remember who was reporting it, but I heard this before. They said McConnell. I think Lindsey Graham. Those are the names I heard.
And
they
Rubio.
told him, "We won't back you up if you do this."
And that we'll vote to impeach
and so
you.
then he was like, "Well, I can only do good from the inside, right?"
Yeah.
And he's just like all the rest of punk,
And people are trying to make, some people are saying this. Trump was a coward not releasing the files, a murderer authorizing the assassination of unnamed General Soleimani, an international crime, not pardoning Snowden and Assange. He's part of the problem. Epstein died on his watch. He had horrible attorney generals and a huge military intelligence budgets. That's very, very well said. That's all that stuff is true, right? Also, here's someone says Trump made a big deal about declassifying the JFK files in 2017, a deadline that had been set 25 years prior. And the CIA told him not to, and then he didn't because he's a pussy.
Yeah. And Jimmy, what the Trump presidency really underscores also is the power of the unelected national security state.
Right.
I mean,
the permanent state.
Right before Trump came into office, Chuck Schumer said to Rachel Maddow that Trump was being stupid because he was messing with the intelligence community, and they have 6 ways from Sunday to get back at you. He's basically saying that the intelligence community can sabotage an elected president. That's exactly what happened. And we saw that repeatedly when Trump ordered U.S. troops to withdraw from Syria. What happened? The permanent war bureaucracy just refused to implement his orders and lied to him. Lied about the troop numbers. James Jeffrey, who was a top official for Syria, admitted that. So Trump appointed all these people who constantly undermine his stated agenda. And, so it's not all entirely his fault. But he does deserve, a huge amount of blame for appointing people who undermine the policies that he claimed to want to undertake and putting himself in a position where they could leverage January 6th against him.
Wait, are you saying he shouldn't have appointed Omarosa from The Apprentice?
Yeah, that was stupid. Come on, man.
Clean drinking water is becoming the world's #1 scarcest resource. What's worse? NASA.
Now, what Glenn Greenwald has said seems obvious to anybody who actually knows anything about the situation. It seems that's 100% plausible, and it's likely.
Yeah.
This is what they say on Twitter. You go to shitlib Twitter.
It very well could be true.
Glenn is going full tinfoil hat. That's what they're saying about his. It's not. But
is that a British spelling of tinfoil, or is he spelling it wrong?
And that's not the only one like that.
Ah, that's like great.
There's lots of these.
Like he foiled the plot.
Oh, Glenn has really lost it, going crazy. He's got.
By the way, Jimmy,
go ahead.
By the way, that message to Trump about Snowden and Assange, that was also reported by CNN. So this is not just Glenn who's hearing.
Yeah, I've heard this a lot.
Yeah.
Well, hey, let's.
It's out there.
Let's. CNN reported it. Must be at least somewhat true.
Is that a real person?
But look, yeah, and look, and that's the point. Trump appointed people like Mike Pompeo, who were totally plotting to kill Julian Assange, because that's what the neocons wanted, and Trump basically bowed to them, didn't stand up to them. But the point is, we're not talking about during his presidency. We're talking about at the very end when he was on his way out and had a couple of days left and could have done this and was thinking about it. That's when he caved.
Because he couldn't run again if another
exactly. I was just about to say that.
So if the Senate would have went along with that, he couldn't run again.
Exactly.
Right? That was the big deal, right?
Hey,
exactly.
Just because
he pardons him in
2024 for 25 years and now another 30 years, like you don't have to automatically assume it's going to be so bad. The information that they have to keep pushing, revealing it.
I think you're gonna find out JFK got a vaccine.
Oh man! Yeah, we can speculate.
He said it, baby.
Tinfoily hats, as it's spelled there.
Yeah, tinfoily. That's why they're keeping.
There was no second shooter. It was a second shot. A second booster on the ground.
Oh my gosh! Second booster on the ground in Dallas.
It is pure speculation.
And it'll be sealed for
100%. Aaron Mate, everybody check out Mate's his Substack, mate.substack.com. Thanks for coming on, pal.
Thank you, JD. Good to see you.
We're just up there. There's just a little bit left, but nothing really of consequence here. Dude, y'all, thank you so much for joining me on this one. I don't really have a lot to say on this one. This is the first I'm hearing of any of this. So as far as like details or, whether or not I believe it's true, I have no idea. But if it is true, he wouldn't be able to run again in 2024 if they were successful if he'd done, so I mean, hey, dude, can't blame him, dude. If he plans on running again, then what? You know what I'm saying? Pardon him in 2024, dude. That's what I'm saying. Okay, everybody. Thank y'all so much for joining me. Until next time, have a great and safe night, everybody. Hit subscribe, ring that bell. Let's do it.